What is going on? Welcome back to Twisted Side by Side. We are in the shop today by my lonesome self. Again. Which is fine. It's fine. Keep working away. Get more done anyway, right? We're on welding the frame. Good times. I got that one side all done. I flipped it over on that side, and I'm making my progress along here to get this side all done. So, not too bad. I'm fully welding both sides, so it should be good and strong. So good weld there. But anyways, thought I'd update on that, what we're doing, and yeah, so far she's looking pretty good. I got some cross members in. This one's good. I'm not sure that one's gonna work where it is, but with the transmission and the motor and stuff, so I haven't welded it in solid yet. But yeah, next is that. So I'm gonna finish this welding this and put it on some jack stands, move it to the back here, and then we will bring the motor over. Sketchtoria. I gotta clean a little bit here first, but bring the motor over here and put it in place. I got some steel in the truck or the trailer, and bog and rip, bogging deep, ripping hard. But yeah, I'll time lapse a bit of the welding here and come back when she's up on stands. Well, that sits in there pretty good. That's where it's gonna probably have to sit. Room for the pulley with the alternator. I think that's the right height. I'm gonna see if I can undo the come along. It's gotta tip back a little bit, but I honestly thought it would, I don't think I have that little drive shaft. So that's pretty well bang on, right? Because time that comes up a little bit and goes into the rear end. That'll be about center. That's where it's got to go. So disappointing. I guess I should have made it a touch longer. Because I was hoping the fan and rad would sit there. But we may have to improvise on that part of it. I think that's where it's got to sit. Maybe mock up some motor mounts, or at least get some measurements, get some placement done, and that'll do it for today. Oh, sorry. I'll do it for today. I'll be in here all day tomorrow too, so we'll continue on. But yeah, I'm gonna get this set in a little better spot and back. Good morning. Back in the shop. I slept over this decision, and I went to the back and measured the old Jeeps, both frames, again, and I was spot on. This is the exact length of the one we got these axles out of. But this motor, I think it's just the transmission case is quite a bit longer, and yeah, we need to add on to the frame. I was going to cut down the center and add to the center, but I'm like, there's probably a lot of pressure and stuff, and it's somewhat square. I want to keep it, so I'm just going to hack the front, clean off, right down, and take this plate off, and then hopefully get it square and weld a 12-inch section onto here, because our motor has to come ahead 8 inches and then 3 inches more for a bit of rad space and whatnot. So unfortunately, that's a pretty good step back, but is what it is. Doesn't really fit. Things won't work. So that from center out is a foot, which this is centered, would make the pumpkin here, which would be like a 3-inch drive shaft. So that's going to go ahead, and then we'll clear here. We can actually, the front will probably sit about that high, and then this maybe tilt that back just a little bit. Then our exhaust will clear, and we'll be able to make, this won't quite come to here. I was gonna do that, but that's a foot itself. Then I add another 3 inches, maybe 15 inches longer, and that's too long. So, yeah. So we're gonna lift this motor back out, and I gotta fix my air hose so it stops leaking, and put some oil in the air compressor. So I'm gonna do that kind of stuff first, and then get that fired up, get the plasma cutter fired up, get some lines nice and square, and start cutting it apart and re-weld it. Awesome. Good times. Good times. Well, we're making some progress here on a complete waste of time, but that's what you get. You ever heard of measure twice and cut once? Measure twice and weld once. Because cutting metal apart sucks balls. Not fun. Not fun. God dang it. Anyways, I cut this off, cleaned it up, made a 12-inch piece, so actually we're gonna be a little more than 12 inches, which is good. Got it somewhat tacked together. The front was always a touch too wide. I don't know what I did wrong, but it was like 30 and a good quarter. It was supposed to be 30. So I made sure that here was 30, and then gonna have a small on both sides, just a little overlay, which the welds will go in there nice anyways. You'll hardly even see it. I might gusset these just because the motor's gonna hang really back there. It won't be much up here anyways, but this it's probably strong enough. But get that all welded in solid. Or maybe do a lot more tacking. I don't know. Just set the motor in and see, make sure this is enough before, just like I said, measure twice, weld once. So I might do that. Party on. I'm tired today. I don't feel like doing this, and it's hot in here. It's really hot outside. It's hot in here. Sweating. These coveralls are hot, but they're kind of spark proof. Good times. Good times. All for you guys. All for content. For our 30 subscribers. Minty. Okay, we're all welded up, frames in, motor's sitting kind of where it needs to be. It made a template. I went off this side because it's sitting nice and high, kind of where we want it, out of cardboard. So this will kind of sit, box it in like that. Yeah. That kind of work like that. It'll I'll make it a little taller because that should be okay. Low pan's on the ground. It's quite a bit lower than the frame. I like it how it sits nice and low. So, and then back here we'll make something off of here for the engine mount, or go off the back engine mount. I'm not sure. So. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But this should line up freaking near perfect for the rear end. So everything's fitting. Gesture case will fit. Everything fits. It's snug, which is kind of what you want. There's room up front for the rad. The rad will sit right at the front here, but which is fine. I'm gonna build a kind of a protector for that anyways. But I need a different rad because it's dicked, and so is the fan. So, but yeah, it's looking pretty sweet. That'll work. Right on. It's getting real. It's getting exciting. Getting exciting. The motors kind of get that in place. And then after that, it's figuring out chassis. So, not chassis. Seating position and roll cage. That's what I meant to say. What I meant to say. I know what I'm doing. Bog and rip. Bog and rip. And we're back. Sorry about that, rookie move. My SD card was full. So anyways, I think I was at, yeah, we're gonna get this welded up here and that, and time lapse some stuff because we're ready to do some welding, so we all tacked into place and make sure it all drives, and then weld her up solid. Beefy. Then we'll start measuring, working on the back. Probably won't get that done tonight, obviously, but work away at it. Get some done. Pretty excited. This is looking minty. Fresh. Every time you get something somewhere in this project, you get really excited about the whole thing, so this is looking pretty cool. I'm just be nice to have some suspension underneath it. Time lapse. Well, looky here. We got ourselves a couple of front suspension springs mounted, tacked in. Bogging deep, ripping hard, looking good, minty, fresh, sweetness, awesome. Can't think of any more. Well, I guess we're on the back. This is where it gets a little more tricky because we need it to be level. It's very important to be level. We have to account for the front weight of the motor. So almost need the back to be a smidge taller than the front. Kind of weights, sorry, other way around. We need it to be the front a smidge taller than the back, because it will probably, it might be an inch. So I'm probably splitting hairs here, folks. Splitting hairs. Yep. So I'm gonna get the springs over there, get them in place. So this one's the opposite. The back ones are on shackles, which we had to torch because they're F. So I'm gonna get those cut off and I'll probably make some new shackles. And then the front will be welded solid. So I'll do the same bracketry there as there. It's a little cobbled a little bit. Well, it's all welded and solid painted, but I had to add 2 pieces, which I don't like because it doesn't look great. But I don't have anything that's ½ inch thick, so it is what it is. It is what it is. I think it looks good. I'm pretty impressed for not doing this ever before, suspension work. Like ever, never, nothing even remotely close to any of this project have I done before. I have minor welding skills and know how to work with a bit of metal. That's it. It's all guesswork. It's all, see, anyone can do this. If pick up a welder, go on YouTube, learn how to weld. I'm not gonna teach you how to weld. It's not that hard really once you get on it if you have a good welder. And yeah, just know how to measure, know how to weld, and just kind of work away. You'll screw things up like that. You'll make mistakes. You'll have to go like this. Wasn't long enough. Little stuff. You just learn along the way. But for not knowing what I'm doing, literally, I'm pretty happy with that. It looks good. So we're gonna do some measurements on the back and start cutting some pieces there. Well, it's very hot in here. It's very hot outside. It's like, feels like 40. There's smoke in here as well because we've been pretty busy. Pretty busy. So we yeah, didn't film any of the back because it's kind of the same as the front. Sit there for 2-3 minutes, watch me just run around the head cut off and trying to fix all the mistakes I've made. Learning curves, a few learning curves. This design that I made, actually I should have just made this flat, hindsight 2020. Learned lots. There's no reason for this hump. The way that arches down is all kind of, I could have made that flat, but that's just copying the other frame. And the next thing by design, not by design, is the height difference in the two springs. The front spring's a lot higher than the back spring. There's nothing I can really do about that. The only thing I could have done on the front, I guess, is have way lower, like 3 or 3 inch lower drop hangers for the springs, which I don't want. So it's actually a pretty simple fix, although it took me an hour of measuring to figure that out. I'm gonna do an axle underneath in the front and an axle over top in the back. Really makes no difference driveline wise. It's talking the same clearance, everything will be level. So it's about a 3 inch difference. So that's what we're gonna aim for, and it should still ride pretty level. So what else did I learn through mistakes? Well, so here I doubled up. Here I took a piece of 2 inch square tubing and notched it out. So it looks a lot nicer, a little more professional, you want to call it. Nothing's welded solid, it's all tacked. There's probably a couple hours worth of welding to do, and I'm too hot and it's getting late, so I thought I'd just show you the finished product. I think it looks good. Like, it's freaking looks sick. Looks big. It's gonna be tall. It's gonna be tall. Pretty happy. There's a lot of cuts in here. There's a lot of measuring, a lot of cuts, I think. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's just an infinite amount of cuts to it. But it looks good. I like it. I almost want to clear coat it that color, just to show all the welds and everything, because I think it looks pretty BA badass. I was gonna say badass, that didn't. Yeah, it's pretty happy. So I'm gonna come in and get this welded up later on and work on those. It's gonna be probably not a very long video. Again, there's no point in time lapsing and showing me cutting more rear parts and drilling them out, welding them. So this is this will be a short one. It's how to install a suspension kit, just by guessing, basically. All Jeeps have a hanger in the front so the springs can move a bit, and the hangers in the back so you can move a bit. Weld the two inner ones solid, and use your springs. I use the springs as your guide. So get a point near the back, center the axle in the center of your frame, and then you kind of start at the back and then go to the front, and the springs help a lot get them bolted on. They're just loose in there right now, but looks pretty good. that's gonna do it for this episode of Twisted Side by Side Shop. I don't know how many people enjoyed these, but I think it's kind of neat if you look back and see this project develop and go and get built from nothing, from a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. So thanks for watching. Subscribe. There's gonna be we're gonna go for a ride here again as soon as my razor gets back from Bert's equipment. Is getting the brakes done. It'll be this week. So maybe next weekend or during the week next week we can go for a ride and do that. So that should be fun. So for now, thanks for watching, and we'll puck and see you later.